All right, here we go. So, I know that you have been spending time diligently looking up information on microcredits and looking at some of the information that I left under the content. And you now see that there are some issues. And by the way, at the moment, I see that 8 people are probably doing that, which is kind of a low number considering the total number in the class. But that's all the people that have watched the video. Anyway, whatever. So, whenever you get this, the idea, when you look at it though, you'll see that the idea of microcredits and those small loans, micro loans, and all those things, the idea behind them, they were considered to be a magic bullet, right? And they didn't turn out to be a magic bullet. They turned out to have issues surrounding them. They just didn't, they were just one of the, instead of being the thing that broke people out of poverty and that broke that cycle, they just ended up being a tool that could be used, and one that sometimes wasn't overly popular. And of course, one that, again, markets got a hold of, and well, they developed what markets developed. They developed profit. And so the more people that got into the market, the more profit-minded and profit-driven it became. And so in some cases, you know, there's services they want to use and services they don't. Anyway, point is, just like Kramer and Newman here, there's no, in this case, magic loogie. There's no magic bullet to solving poverty. And that's probably what you've come up against when you've looked up this stuff about microcredit. And if you're thinking, hey, wait a minute, is he just using the same background that he just did this morning? That's ridiculous. And yeah, you're right. See, there it is. But I will point out, I grew up with this Scooby-Doo that ran down the same hallway. I don't know how long this hallway must be, like a couple football fields, but come on, like that's a great cartoon. This is a great lesson. Okay, moving on. So, what are you going to do with this information? Well, as I said, we're going to look at the Millennium Developmental Goals for the UN. And here are the 8. Okay, so this was one they're looking at in terms of looking at this microcredit as getting rid of the poverty issue. All of these things, a lot of them have to do, of course, with health, but they do come along with having profitable businesses, having people be able to make a living, having entrepreneurs, and supporting local businesses within countries that are not, you know, part of a multinational corporation that's in there to get a hold of resources, raw resources and stuff. So growing those local markets and those local companies and things is part of this goal. So is it entirely successful as a strategy? Well, no, it's not. But because these were supposed to be, I think the goals were for 2015. It's not, it's 2021. Things haven't exactly, I mean, improvements been made, but obviously the problems continue to exist. So what I want you to look at, stop touching that, is looking at some microcredits. You've already done your work on those microcredits. You know what they are, you know how much they work and how much they don't. What are the other options? What are the other creative options that have come up that challenge microcredit, like microcredit loans, obviously, is what we're talking about. What are the other options that have come up? What has been, is there something that's been much more successful in the last couple of years? So we're really looking at, 2015, there seemed to be a lot of data that came out about the shortcomings of microcredit. Okay, so what I want you to do, so your assignment for this one is a comparison between microcredits and some other tactic of that does the same thing. It solves that short-term liquidity problem, the the problem with getting a traditional loan that the microcredits were attempting to solve. So you want to compare that with another option. Okay, and then it's which is better, right? Why or in what way? Okay, and if you can come up with some numbers, that would be great. Graphs would be lovely. And again, I want this one to be a visual, something visual. Okay, so this is a visual assignment. All right. Look out. If you were going to present this, let's say if you were presenting it, it would be approximately, say, 3 to 5 minutes worth of material in your visual presentation. If you want to do a short presentation, instead of just handing in a Prezi or a slideshow or a whatever, you can do that. If you want to do a short video on it, like I said, 3 to 5 minutes, that's great as well. Okay, so I would definitely accept that as well. If you submit that, through the portfolio or the alternate portfolio, just make sure I know, submit, what do you call those things? A Google Doc. Yeah, that's a really hard stretch in terms of concept to remember. A Google Doc, submit that to the assignment folder so I know there's something there, and in the Google Doc you say, I submitted it to, your portfolio. So the idea here, right, what I'm going for here is for you to understand the limitations of microcredits and the other alternatives for that service, right? And be able to compare and contrast between the two and see where one is better than the other. All right, that is the goal that you have for the assignment. That is the end part. At the end, I should know that you understand, right, where the shortcomings of microcredits are, how they're addressed by another service, and which one, when you compare the two, which one is more effective and why, what ways. All right, 3 to 5 minutes, visual assignment. You can do a video. That's it. Let's go.